Hi, this is Eddie White, and I'm the instructor for the motorcycle culture course, and I'm interviewing riders. Today I'm talking to Tyler. Tyler, thanks a lot for helping us out with this.
My pleasure.
Okay. Can we start with what is your name and age, please?
My name is Tyler Burns. I'm 24 years old.
Okay. And where do you live, Tyler?
I live in Tucson, Arizona.
Okay. And when did you start riding, or how long have you been riding?
I started riding in the dirt at about 3 years old, and I've been riding on the street for about 5 years now. I started when I was 18.
Okay, great. What type of bike or bikes do you currently ride?
Right now, I have an FZ09, which is a hyper naked, and I also have a Supermoto, which is a dirt bike with street wheels.
Okay. Now, a couple of things. What brand is that? What brand of bike is that?
The Supermoto,
Yeah.
that's a Honda.
Okay. And so, sorry, did you mention you have two bikes?
Yes, sir.
Are they both Hondas or?
One's a Yamaha, one's a Honda.
Okay. Can you explain a little bit for our audience and remind me also when you talk about that it's naked, what are you referring to?
Essentially, it's just like a sport bike, or some people would refer to it as a crotch rocket.
Yeah.
But it's geared a little bit lower, a little bit better for street use. It's a little
Yeah.
bit torquier. You don't have quite as high of a rev limit.
Yeah.
So instead of going 167 miles an hour, you only go about 120, but you get there much faster.
Yes, and sport bikes, of course. I mean, it's speed and getting going where you're going, and there's no bags or windshields or any of that jazz going on with it, and that's part of the nakedness too, I guess.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, great. Um, do you, Tyler, as you know, I mean, some people have a loyalty to certain brands, whether it's Harleys or BMWs or whatever. Do you feel a sense of loyalty to any particular brand of bike?
Um, I worked in a bike shop for a very long time, and I've seen kind of the good and bad with everything, and I stick to the Japanese brands, your Hondas, Yamahas, Kawasaki's, simply because it's easier to get parts for them, and they're just so much more widely available at a cheaper price.
I see. Uh-huh. Okay, that's interesting. Um, so Tyler, how often do you ride, or how many miles do you ride a week? Are you an everyday rider?
I was for a long time. Where I'm working now, that's just not really an option. It's a lot of highway, and it's cold right now.
Yeah,
But uh, I'd say right now I ride probably 3 or 4 times a week after work for 2 hours.
yeah. Okay, great. Um, Tyler, as you know, I mean, some people like to work on their bikes. I mean, if I can put gas in my bike, I'm happy. I don't know, and doing any work on them is way beyond my skill limit. Do you work on your bike? Is that something you enjoy doing?
I wouldn't say enjoy doing it. I enjoy having my bike running well. So it's a labor of love. I do it because I have to get to the riding part, but it's
Yeah.
definitely a much less expensive way to go, and you learn a lot from doing it.
I'm guessing you probably have a more satisfaction than I do of going to a garage or a dealership and paying however much, when you can probably do a lot of it yourself.
Yeah, there are certain jobs that I definitely can't do. I by no means claim to be a mechanic myself, but if I can do it, yeah, I'm going to try and do it myself.
That's great. Okay. Tyler, have you taken a motorcycle safety foundation course?
I have not.
Okay. What do you wear when you ride in terms of helmets or protective gear or anything? What do you wear?
I'm very adamant about wearing my helmet, obviously, full face helmet.
Yeah.
I have leather gloves, kangaroo leather to be specific. I'm very serious about the kangaroo leather,
Uh-huh.
and
Well,
boots.
what's the deal with the kangaroo leather? Is we get a better gripping action or what?
It's a thinner glove, so you get more dexterity in your hands, but you
Uh-huh.
don't lose very much safety. It's very high abrasion material.
I see. But you get colder fingers.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Definitely, you get colder fingers.
That's an interesting trade-off, though. You're trading off for the colder fingers for the functionality of the glove.
And boots are very important to me as well. I've
Okay.
seen far too many incidents where people lost a shoe in an accident. I'm not interested in that happening to me.
Yeah. 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 And in terms of, I mean, jackets or pants or what about colorful gear or reflective gear? I mean, people talk about, the need to be seen, and that's why some people recommend that.
Definitely don't wear black is my advice. I wear a white helmet.
Yeah.
White seems to be the color that gets you seen the most. A lot of people like the high vision day glow.
Yeah.
What I've heard is that the human eye actually picks up contrast, black versus white, more than it will color.
Yeah.
So
That's
that's why I
interesting.
went with the white.
Yeah. I wear a white helmet also. Okay, good. Um, Tyler, just considering a little bit of the people around you and your family and friends, what do your family and friends think about you and your motorcycle riding?
Well, it's kind of interesting because my whole family rides. When you go to my parents' house, there's 5 or 6 bikes in the garage. But when I started up at 18 years old, they were not happy with me. They wanted me to stick to the dirt where there's no other cars, no other traffic.
Are
And
you telling us that you got a motorcycle and then everybody else got one?
no, they started it. I'm telling you,
Oh,
they
okay.
started it.
I see. So you grew up around bikes, and so then what was if you grew up around bikes, what was the reluctance for you getting involved? Was it the type of riding you were doing?
It was the street, really. I had been riding on the dirt for ever since I was a little kid. I'd raced dirt bikes, but my mom was real nervous about me being on the street with cars.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
she knew, me being a younger guy, that tendency to show off tends to be there.
Yeah, that's a good point. And what about your friends and people now? What do they think about you being a rider?
A lot of my friends have started riding since I picked it up. Uh,
Yeah.
Usually it comes down to they're frustrated that I can't drive them anywhere.
Yeah, I see. Okay, good. Uh, uh, Tyler, just asking you a little bit about terminology. How would you identify yourself? A biker, a rider, motorcyclist, motorcycle enthusiast?
I The term biker's I don't know if that describes him very well. I'd say just a rider, motorcycle rider.
Yeah, I guess you get some negative connotations that come with the
You
biker
picture
label.
guys in leather jackets
Yeah,
going to the bar.
yeah. Okay. Tyler, do you belong to any motorcycle organizations or clubs?
Not anymore. I don't like riding in groups anymore. I've seen a lot of things that I wish I hadn't seen riding in groups.
So this is my next question, and it's well, I guess you've kind of answered it. So do you prefer to ride alone?
I do, very much so.
Can you comment a little bit or just expand a little bit about your comment there about riding groups, and you've seen some negative things, and what are the issues with riding in groups?
I think it primarily has to do with my age group,
Uh-huh.
but you get a bunch of guys that are in their 20s together and you put a big engine in between their legs and all of a sudden they want to one up each other until somebody gets hurt. It's not something that I want anything to do with. I can't say I'm above it. I'm a young guy full of testosterone, so I just take myself out of that whole situation.
That's probably a good approach and interesting also. I mean, I'm riding I'm riding a cruiser to 2008 Suzuki, and I love going up Mount Lemon, but I mean I'm going up Mount Lemon and leaning into my turns and stuff at 35 or 40 miles an hour, and some of the guys on the sports bikes, they make me nervous. I'm yeah.
Oh, Officer Hayes will catch up with them, I promise. I know him pretty well.
Officer Hayes.
Yep, he's the guy on Mount Lemon that will definitely catch them.
Oh, okay. I'll keep an eye out for them. Okay, interesting. But you prefer the solo ride, and that's what you like.
I do.
Yeah. Okay, good. Tyler, one of the beginning of the course we're doing, we're actually one of the first things we're doing is we're talking about why people ride, and people give various reasons of why they enjoy riding so much. So, what would you say? What is your primary motivation? Why do you enjoy riding so much?
I mean, it sounds cheesy, but it's really a freeing experience versus, sitting in a car in traffic or feeling the wind. And you just get this sense of nobody can really tell me where to go. All of a sudden you want to take the next turn and see where you end up.
Yeah.
It's just you and the bike.
That's great, and you describe it very well. Okay, Tyler. So I have a question about work. So what do you do for a living, or what's your work?
I just started up a few months ago at a Caterpillar dealership for a company called Empire.
Yeah.
I'm in the parts department, so I sell Caterpillar
Okay.
machinery
And
parts.
what do people are in your work, they know you're a rider?
Oh yeah, I actually have people that come to me. I used to work at a bike shop for 2 or 3 years, and so people will still come to me and ask me, what should I get? Where should I get it? Where can I have it put on?
I see. Okay, great. Um, Tyler, you ride primarily in after work these days, but what is your primary concern or your primary worry when you're riding?
It seems that minivans and Priuses are the biggest concern to have. They don't tend to look before they go somewhere. I
That's interesting. Sorry to interrupt, but I've heard other people mention about other drivers, but I haven't heard anybody mention specific types of drivers or customers. So could you, yeah, explain a little bit?
well, on my way to my last job, I would go down Grant Road to get to work every day
Right.
from Craycroft to Stone. And you see all types of things. I've almost hit jaywalkers. I've been almost run over by all different types of car.
Yeah.
That is the biggest concern. You really got to keep your head on a swivel. I've had people try and follow me places when they didn't like what they saw or whatever it may be.
That's unusual and strange. Interesting. So, so Tyler, you're a young guy, but do you think you'll ever quit riding motorcycles?
Absolutely not. When my legs give out, I'll buy a trike.
I see. Okay, great. And you've mentioned a little bit about some, negative experiences you had, but do you have a favorite or a best experience on a motorcycle you'd like to share?
Favorite in a good way or favorite in a bad way?
Favorite in a good way,
Uh,
or you can choose either one.
my whole family, we took a ride up through California a few years back. My mom, my dad, and my grandfather and my grandmother, and we just cruised all day for probably 6 days, and it was just beautiful. We went up Coastal Highway 1 and just took in the sights. We stopped at little strange diners and stayed in hotels. My grandpa has a trailer that connects to his bike, and we were able to throw all of our stuff in there, so we didn't have to carry the weight. And it was a great experience. The weather was perfect.
That's great. It sounds wonderful for me for two reasons. One of the things I want to do is get I've been out to the California coast, but only in the car. And one of my goals is get out there on a motorcycle and explore a little bit. And I come from a big family too, and I can't imagine doing a family motorcycle ride. That sounds fantastic.
And we all had our comm systems on our helmets. We were able to chit chat and
Yeah.
listen to my grandparents bicker the whole time. It was fun.
It sounds wonderful, Tyler. Great. Tyler, thanks for taking some time and sharing your experiences with us.
My pleasure.